His views. Thank you, Bob in Swindon. That's the views of Nigel Farage. He's here just for a couple more minutes, so we'll squeeze another call if you want to get through. Cameron sitting on the fence as usual in Europe. Come the weekend, Johnny may just get a wake-up call if the media plays its part. David Phipps in Aston and Oxfordshire. If you get us out of Europe, Nigel Farage, what's to stop a future government taking us back in, says Stephen Perry.
Well, I think there's always a danger that future governments can get things wrong. But the other element of electoral reform that we haven't discussed this morning is I believe we need a change, a fundamental change in this country. I think that if sufficient number of people sign a petition to demand a referendum on any issue, that should be allowed. And if we did that, then the political class would never be able to do this to us again.
John, why do we waste time listening to these people? No matter what any of them say, they are all liars and thieves. What we need is an annual full referendum to sort this country out. The man on the street's not going to get his voice heard at all. The views that I hear during conversation at work, home and out socially do not reflect anything the political parties say. They are so out of touch it's unreal. Regards, Paul Martin. P.S. The Gurkhas are heroes. Why do we treat these proud people like this? I will swap my place for any one of these men. So effectively saying all you politicians are the same.
Well, listen, I've come into this from business. I'd never even stood for local council before. I've come into this, Paul, because I agree with you. I don't see anybody in those three main parties who represents me. And frankly, increasingly, they look the same, they sound the same, they're happy for 75% of our laws to be made somewhere else, and you can't put a cigarette paper between them.
So why aren't you one of them then?
I don't want to be one of them. I would never.
For the last 10 years, you've been one of them.
No, I'm not, John.
You are. You funded out the public purse. You are one of them.
Well, I may well be elected, but I'm in this to bring them down because I think they've betrayed the country, frankly. They've given away what our fathers and grandfathers actually fought for. They've given away the independence of this country, and we've got to fight them.
So we vote for you, just say, for example, you win, but then you'd give up because you've got no long-term commitment. You've told us that earlier. What's the point of voting for you?
If we had a referendum, right, on whether we stayed part of this union or left this union, if my side of the argument lost, you know, I wouldn't like the result, but I would accept the result and I would pack up. Yeah. I would pack up, because at least it would have been decided by the British people. If we win, then I've achieved my main goal. I personally, then, would have to consider what to do. But the important thing is not where I go in a few years' time. The important thing is that we get back the ability, when we vote in general elections, to decide our future. That's what democracy is about.
Just before you go, hi, Gaunty, great show. I think voting should be compulsory and there should be none of the above box on the ballot paper. Cheers, Clive in Hemsley. Would you agree with that?
They do well, the none of the above, wouldn't they?
They would win, wouldn't they?
No, I don't want to make voting compulsory. I want to make voting matter.
On Newsnight, a White House advisor said the United States are fed up with dealing with 27 different leaders and finance ministers. They want to deal with one leader, one minister, and it's the US that's pushing the way the EU's going. So, Steve, is you right?
Well, that's Mr. Obama, I'm afraid, for you. And Obama was elected, and it was like the second coming of the Lord. He was going to be fantastic, and what nobody realised is that Obama's European policy is he seems to want a strong United States of Europe with its own foreign policy and its own army. I think he's very, very mistaken indeed. And America are likely, if we do ratify this treaty, and if we do start to have an emerging European foreign policy, America as a country will lose its best friend in the world.
Hi, John. Question for Mr. Farage. I've been reading of the threat to recreational sea angling in the United Kingdom, where we have to log our catches as part of the national code. That can't be true. What's going on? All the best, Mark Wilson, Wimbledon.
Mark, my hobby for over 30 years is I am a fanatical, keen sea angler, as are my sons, as is my brother. It's what we do. And I'm afraid that in the European Parliament last week, we voted for the European Commission to have a say over what we do in our own recreational fishing waters. At the moment, they've exempted beach angling, but they're going to start looking at boat angling. It ultimately will mean that even if you've got a yacht and you want to chuck a string of feathers over the side to get some mackerel for tea, you'll have to get a licence. I don't like it. I don't want it. I want total control back over our territorial waters for both the commercial fishermen and the recreational boys.
Okay, before you go, we'll ask this to everybody when we're talking about the European elections from all parties over the next few weeks. The concluding question, 30 seconds, why should people vote for UKIP in June?
UKIP is the only political party standing in these elections saying very clearly that we should not be in this political union. Let's have friendship and free trade, and by voting for UKIP, you get representatives that will stand up and fight for you here, fight for you in Brussels, and in voting UKIP, you will send an earthquake through Westminster, and Cameron and Brown will have to start listening.
Slightly longer than 30 seconds.
How long was it?
I don't know. But Nigel Farage,
38.
thank you for joining us this morning, leader of UKIP.
Sun Talk with Jon Gaunt. Real people, real talk.
To find out more about who we are and what we stand for, go to the UK Independence Party website at www.ukip.org.